Nickerson is with us, and wanted to have you on the show to thank you for all the hard work that you've done throughout the summer. Those that follow your Facebook posts and things know that you've done an awful lot of work with all of the lifts here throughout the summer and helping to upgrade them. Maybe you could share some of those projects that you've done with us.
Well, we got involved with cutting down the old King Pine terminal, and we then hung around and got involved with putting in all the concrete. We poured over 100 yards of concrete for the new terminal base, and finished that up the end of August. And we're waiting for the rest of the terminal parts to show up, and they showed up. The beginning of November, I guess things really started showing up, and we hauled all the terminal parts up to the base and installed the frame.
How do you get them all up there?
We loaded them with the crane in the parking lot. For two big truckloads of stuff showed up, and we unloaded everything in the parking lot and staged everything right there. And we put as much stuff together as we could on the new terminal station before we hauled it all the way up there. And we loaded it onto a trailer and towed it all the way up with my my old auto car truck. And Crusher was out in front with the white and pulled up. Oh, there's a couple pictures of us pulling the bottom terminal up right there.
And the white is like a big monster, right?
Yeah, it's a big old farm tractor with monster truck tires on it. I do a lot of riding behind that. It tows me all over the mountain. We just recently went up and put the gearbox and motor and things back into the Timberline chairlift. We were up there at the beginning of December. Yeah. And they made me drive down Tote Road at 6 o'clock in the morning. We met at the base down at the base at 5:30. Wow. And hopped in some groomers and went up to the bottom of Timberline and towed my truck back out onto Tote Road and hooked two bombardiers. Wow. Up to the back. They were headed uphill, and we then ventured down over Tote Road, right over Chicken Pitch, and down to the bottom.
Sounds like a lot of strategic planning in order to get this, but yet you don't really know what you're going to encounter, right?
Yeah, you never know. It's always a crapshoot of what's going to happen. So.
Right. Yeah. So, but you have a lot of experience. Your company, Nickerson, moves everything, right?
Yep. We jack and move houses. We moved the Farmington Diner in Farmington. We moved that out to Wilton. Yeah, that was a big deal for Farmington.
Wow, yeah.
We moved the one-room schoolhouse that used to be over by Walmart. We moved that onto the fairgrounds. Yeah, we moved some pretty big houses.
Is it true that you can put a martini glass on a desk full of a liquid, and when you move the building and place it back, that you haven't spilled a drop? Is that true?
Pretty close. A little evaporation, maybe.
Well, a little evaporation. Yeah, we'll call it that. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with Seth Nickerson and talk more about some of the special projects that he has helped to accomplish here on the mountain and the new lift upgrades. We'll be right back in just a moment. Seth Nickerson is with us, the winningest watch and win person in the history of WSKI-TV, and also a very handy guy to have here in Carrabassett and Kingfield in the High Peaks region, because you guys can pick up heavy things and move them.
Oh, yes.
And you were telling me during the break some of the projects that you've done, and many of the bull wheels, not just here, but at Sunday River, too.
Yeah, we've taken, I go and, yep, there it is right there. Wow. There's the gearbox over to Sunday River. That weighs 12,000 pounds. And normally there's a bow wheel on the shaft on the bottom, but they wanted to put the gearbox back up in without the bow wheel, because they were putting a brand new bow wheel on a couple weeks later. So we rigged up so we could slide that back underneath and then jack it up 8 feet and then bolt it back up into the terminal.
How long does it take to do a project like that?
It's 3 or 4 days to take it down, and then another and get it to where they want to get it so they can work on it, and then another 2 or 3 days to put it back together.
Now, do they give you schematics for this? Or?
Oh no, we just show up and just start
dismantling.
Start dismantling. set up our blocks and beams and just start taking things apart.
So it doesn't really matter what it is, it's all the same process.
Yeah, just a lot of nuts and bolts and blocks and beams.
Now, you've done a really big project in Lewiston, one of the looms. Can you tell us about that one?
We took, a couple of years ago, one of my friends bought one of the last looms that was down at the Bates mill. So we took. They called me up, and one afternoon we went down and rolled one of the last looms that they had in the mills down there out, and they shoved it out the second story window at me while I was operating the crane. So there was an 8,000-pound thing sliding out of a window, and you had to pick it up as it
wow,
as it came out.
Do you get adrenaline rushes?
Oh yeah, it's a big pucker fest at that point. So.
Gosh, it seems like it, but you really have some specialized skills to be able to do that. I'm sure there's not a lot of people that can actually do that.
Oh,
what are we seeing here?
This is down at the pump station. I help do all the snowmaking motors and pumps. This is down on the golf course, just as you're heading over to the 11th tee, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. And there's the white things are the covers, and we set down a 5,000-pound motor down inside there, and there's a 20-foot tall or deep well, and so the pumps are 20 feet tall. So we pick them up and set them down in the well, and set the motors back on top. Danny's got six big motors down there. Mm-hmm. We were actually just down there last week replacing one while it was warm. So we slid down in on the new fresh snow that we had last week, and we barely crept back out of there. So it was interesting.
One advantage of not having a lot of snow, I guess, for that job, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And you are the son of Groovy, who is a legendary, and you knew this was coming, but Groovy, who is a legendary sugar loafer. Can you tell us about your dad, a little bit about your dad and his legendary status here in the valley?
Yeah, he moved up here in '68 full time, and he's just groovy. He started the Groovy Garbage Company, and
satisfaction guaranteed, or W trash bag.
Yeah, exactly. And then he ran the Red Stallion for a real long time, and he ran with a crew of really wild characters, and he's just very well known for being a wild animal.
I heard a Peter Roy story of a cement boat hull that he made once. Can you verify that?
No, he always wanted to make the cement boat.
Okay.
He always wanted to build.
It didn't work out.
No. But he did move. He's moved. We've moved plenty of boats though. There used to be a boat right downtown Kingfield, next to the library. There was a boat there that they moved out of he moved out of town. I don't know ever what happened to that. And we've moved some tugboats inside of buildings. We moved a tugboat for Washburn and Doughty that weighed 230 tons or something like that. We slid it from one end of the building to the other end of the building for them.
That's interesting that people find you to do these type of things.
Yeah. It's all. Unfortunately, a lot of the people that my father knew or worked for have passed away at this point or retired. So it's a whole nother line of people out there now. But
so the name of the company is Nickerson and Son.
Nickerson Building Movers.
And you have a website?
I usually operate off my Facebook page.
Yeah. Yep. And some interesting posts there as well. and you have a phone number, of course.
Yep. 265-2651.
Yeah. So you can
it's nice and simple.
Yeah, there you go. And if you need your house moved or you need a foundation, they certainly can help. Or if you happen to have a chairlift in the back and you need the bull wheel removed, you're the man.
Yep. Any heavy rigging that needs to be done.
That's it. Thank you so much,
No
Seth,
problem,
for being in
Thanks
here.
for having
A pleasure.
me on.
We've got a lot of boxes for you to take with you today.
truck.
Perfect. That's great. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more here on the Mountain Report.